The clink of wine glasses shattered the silence, a sound as sharp as a pain slicing through my chest. I stood frozen in our dining room, the scent of roasted turkey and pine from the Christmas tree cloying in my throat. My wife, Claire, leaned against the kitchen counter, her eyes darting away from mine, her fingers twisting the stem of her glass. "Tom, it's just dinner," she said, her voice a tight wire. "Lila's alone this year. I invited her. Be mature about it." Lila, my ex-fiancée, the woman who'd left me 3 years ago without a word, now summoned to our home like a ghost summoned from a Ouija board. My stomach churned, suspicion curling like smoke in my mind. I forced a smile, the kind that felt like biting glass. "Sure, Claire. Mature. Got it." But her words echoed, too casual, too rehearsed. The room felt smaller, the walls pressing in with the weight of unspoken truths. I turned away, pretending to adjust the garland on the mantel, but my hands trembled. Why Lila? Why now? Claire had never mentioned her before. Yet the invitation slipped from her lips as if it were nothing. I caught my reflection in the window, hollow eyes, clenched jaw. The man staring back didn't trust his own wife. The afternoon dragged, each tick of the clock a hammer against my nerves. I set the table, the silverware clattering louder than it should. Claire hummed in the kitchen, her melody too cheerful, like a mask she wore to hide something jagged. I wanted to ask, why tonight? But the words stuck, heavy with dread. Instead, I watched her, the way her hands fluttered when she spoke of Lila, the way her laugh cracked when I mentioned our past. Small things, red flags I'd ignored for months. Her late nights at work, her phone always face down, the way she'd stop saying, "I love you" first. The doorbell rang at 6, a low chime that felt like a warning. Lila stood on our porch, her auburn hair catching the porch light's glow, her smile a blade I hadn't felt in years. "Tom," she said, her voice soft, familiar, cutting. "It's good to see you." I nodded, my throat dry, and stepped aside. Claire rushed forward, hugging her too tightly, too long. Their laughter filled the house, but it sounded wrong, like a song played out of tune. I poured wine, my hand steady now, but my mind raced. Something was off. The air was thick with secrets. Dinner was a performance. Claire's eyes flickered between Lila and me, her smile brittle. Lila talked about her new job, her voice smooth, but her gaze lingered on Claire, not me. I noticed the way Claire's hand brushed Lila's when passing the mashed potatoes, a touch that lasted a heartbeat too long. My fork scraped the plate, the sound grating against the chatter. "So," I said, forcing my voice to stay even, "how you two know each other?" Silence fell, heavy as snow. Claire's lips parted, but no words came. Lila's smile faltered, her eyes darting to Claire. "Oh, we met at a conference last year," Claire said finally, too quickly. Lila was a speaker. We hit it off. Her laugh was a shard of glass, sharp and false. Lila nodded, but her fingers tightened around her napkin. I sipped my wine, the taste bitter. A conference. Last year, when Claire started staying late, claiming deadlines. When her texts became short, her excuses vague. My chest tightened, a storm brewing behind my ribs. The evening unraveled slowly, each moment a thread pulled loose. Claire's hand rested on Lila's arm as they cleared plates, their whispers too low for me to hear. I stood in the living room, staring at the Christmas lights, their colors blurring through the haze of my thoughts. Doubt gnawed at me, but so did guilt. Was I paranoid? Was this jealousy, rearing its head because of Lila's past with me? I wanted to believe Claire, to trust the woman I'd married, but the pieces didn't fit. Then I saw it. Claire's phone, left on the counter, lit up with a text. Lila's name, a heart emoji. Words I couldn't read from across the room, but felt like a punch to the gut. I moved before I could think, my fingers closing around the phone. The screen unlocked. Her password hadn't changed. The message was short. "I can't stop thinking about last night. When can I see you again?" My vision blurred, the words searing into my brain. Last night, when Claire said she was working late, when she came home smelling of perfume that wasn't hers. I turned, phone in hand, as Claire and Lila re-entered the room. Their laughter stopped, their faces paling as they saw me. "Tom," Claire started, her voice trembling. "What are you—" I held up the phone, my hand shaking, rage and heartbreak colliding in my chest. "Explain this," I said, my voice low, dangerous. Lila stepped back, her eyes wide. Claire's mouth opened, but no words came. The silence was deafening. The truth lay bare. "You invited her here," I said, my voice breaking, "to our home, to rub in my face." Claire's eyes filled with tears, but I saw no regret, only fear of being caught. Lila reached for her, but Claire pulled away, guilt written in every line of her body. The room spun, the Christmas lights mocking me with their false warmth. I thought of our vows, our late-night talks, the life we'd built. All of it a lie. I dropped the phone, the clatter echoing like a gunshot. "Get out," I said, not knowing who I meant, Lila, Claire, or both. My heart screamed for answers, but my soul already knew. The betrayal wasn't just Claire's. It was Lila's return, their shared secret, the dinner that was never about me being mature. It was a stage, and I was a fool. As they stood frozen, I walked to the door, the cold night air biting my skin. The stars above were sharp, unyielding, like the truth I couldn't unsee. I didn't know what came next, divorce, forgiveness, or something uglier. But one thing was certain. The man who walked back into that house would never be the same.